Hi, everybody. This is Carrie Mubarak at wooingnature.life, and I bring you greetings from the full moon. This is your full moon view for October 13th, 2019. We got a full moon in Aries, which is a fire sign, so you want to be really careful about jumping off and going off on people, because when fire sign is in the moon, it tends to stir up lots of that kind of thing. So if you're being triggered, if you're having some issues with people, communication issues, if you're already having a fight or a battle with somebody, you don't want to let the full moon fuel that. And full moons have a tendency to do that, especially if they're in fire signs like Aries, where Mars is out front. Okay, so be slow to anger during this time. Don't give yourself into those incendiary remarks or sideways remarks or anything like that. Just ignore all of that, or at least just, if you have to say something, be mindful about how you're saying it. Know that when you are communicating, if there is anger behind it, people are going to feel that, they're going to sense that, and especially during this time. So, what I'm going to say is channel that energy in a good place. Take some deep breaths. Prepare yourself before the moon comes in by meditating, praying, and calming your energy down, so that when this comes in, you'll be in a more centered place. If you're already angry, if you're already going there, then if you go there then when the moon comes in, it's just gonna like crank it up that much more, and you don't want to do that. Okay, some of this energy is going to come about because you all are in circles, like when you have your full moon circles, or you're in social situations that may crop up, and that's because the sun, it is in opposition to the sun in Libra. Libra likes to get together and have these like nice, warm, wonderful, exchanges with people. But because the moon is in Aries, you just want to be mindful about getting together with people and having debates or discussions. Don't talk about politics. Don't talk about religion. Don't talk about sex. Those things that are gonna like spur people on, and it might turn into something else. There is a trine with Jupiter. Jupiter is in its natural sign of Sagittarius, also in the 20th degree. So it talks about adding fantasy or joy or playfulness to the situation to lighten the mood. So lean on the Jupiter energy to lighten the mood. Try to keep your spirits high, but not angry. Okay, and let's see, use some imagination. Going to an escape room, arcades, a masquerade party, anything like that is a good channel, or a good way to add that levity and that play and that fantasy, to lighten the mood and bring that up. For those of you who are familiar with what's happening with the Saturn and Pluto and Capricorn, those two planets are really asking us to work together right now and connect, and look at how people are making contributions, and how other people's contributions are adding to what you're doing. And collaborations are very important. But again, if tensions are high, if your group or your collaborative partners, or people at work, or even people at home that you have to um, that you're having to work with, because you have to work with people at home and a family too. You got to work together, right, in order to maintain the family unit or the home situation. Just know that, like, because of that Aries influence on the moon, we don't want to get bossy. We don't want to start telling people what to do. Um, it may be a time for you all to, as a family or as a group or as a team, to go out and do some things. Like, why don't you take your team to the escape room? As a retreat. A Friday night after work, we're all going to go have drinks, hang out, have a good time. But definitely, I would not use this time to deal with some of those issues that are happening, particularly at work. I would wait and do that later. Um, and if morale is low at work, if you know that your team is not operating at its best, and you need to retreat, um, it would it wouldn't be a bad idea to do it at this time, but I would say make sure that you have a mediator, somebody who is not associated with the team at all, that can come in and process some of that for you, or otherwise it could end up worse and not better. Okay, so full moon energy in Aries, fire sign. Watch your anger, watch your temper, watch your aggressions, and that kind of thing. All right, so this is air signs. I'm going to do a little shuffling. I'm just going to take a pause and do some shuffling. I am going to pull 3 cards, one for Gemini, one for Libra, and then one for Aquarius. And then we'll also pull the tarot card for some clarification on each one of those. So just hang on just a second. I'll be right back. All right, so I am going to be pulling 3 cards from Colette Baron Reads, The Wisdom of the Oracle, one for Gemini, one for Libra, and then one for Aquarius. Gemini first, please. Not feeling it. Gemini. Libra. Aquarius. All right, so this is your full moon focus, folks, for October 13th, 2019 for my air signs. We're starting out with Gemini, going to Libra, and then to Aquarius. So starting out with Gemini, we have deep knowing. So your focus for the full moon is what you know. That's so appropriate, Gemini, because you guys have a lot of information coming into that brain of yours. You all are like, y'all are the kings and queens of information. So if there's something that you know, you want to concentrate on what it is that you know, because that's going to, I feel like that's going to help you refocus and get your life together, Gemini. I think that reflecting on what you know and what's important that you know, right? Because you know a lot of information, but then some of that information is actually important to you. It's important to your growth. It's important to your development, or it's just important, period, right? So deep knowing is your focus. Okay? Where's your wisdom? Where's your knowledge? What is it that you feel confident in? Some of this for you all is work knowledge. For some of you, it's just information that you have gained from being around people. So it's people information or people knowledge. But it does represent your wisdom. 4 and 3 breaks down to a 7, so it may be also some spiritual knowledge that you know as well, Gemini. Don't negate that. Like, don't sidestep that, because that's just as important. You guys are like super intellectual, but sometimes you don't, you tend to forget that there's spiritual knowledge that you have gained too. And spiritual is not just about religious, it's just about what you know on a deeper level, or the knowledge that you're operating with at a deeper level. Another card that's coming through, I'm in the tarot now for you all, Geminis, is the Hangman. We've got the Hangman and the Prince of Cups. I'm seeing the Hangman being about letting go, being able to let go. So if there is something that you've been hanging on to that's been tying up your life, or that's been preventing you from being grounded, you need to let go of that now, Geminis. And you can do that and set your intentions around that for the full moon. We have the Prince of Cups here. Prince of Cups is about love and romance too. So there may be some love and romance coming through for you during the moon time. I have the High Priestess here. Also, again, spiritual knowledge, going back to the spirit and the spiritual knowledge that you have. And not only just spiritual knowledge, but how the knowledge is fueling you, how it's motivating you. That's also aligned with spirit. We've got the Judgment card here. The Judgment card means that it's time. It's time for releasing. It's time to let go. It's time to take an assessment. It's time to look at the full spectrum of your life so far and do a real full assessment. If there's some forgiveness that needs to happen, ask for forgiveness. Don't like sit there and let that like ruminate in your mind. It's accountability. It's about taking accountability. So this is accountability too. Okay. We have the Knight of Swords. That's so Gemini. That's definitely a Gemini card for me anyway. It's about, oh no, not a knight. This deck always confuses me because they have their kings on horses, and typically in the tarot, the horse represents the knight. So I always want to read this as a knight. It's actually a King of Swords. So this is like operating in your full power, Gemini. Appreciating what it is that you know and appreciate your Gemini-ness, okay? Again, it goes back to knowing. It goes back to the information you've been gathering. You've been gathering information for quite some time. Don't just continue to gather the information. Actually move on it and see how it moves you. I see that in the birds there. Ask for what you want. Ask for what it is that you need. And it will be given to you during this time, the full moon time. Definitely also a magician. Also reminds me a lot of Gemini too. So the magician is about being able to take the energies that are available to you, the resources that are available to you. And to me, that's your knowledge and your information, and using it wisely, or using it to create, or using it to manifest. You're at the top of your game. Or you can be on the top of your game if you want to, Gemini. Just be able to understand your star power, and it's going to bring about change for you. The change that you've been looking for, the change that you've been praying for. You've been asking for change. You've been asking for a release. You've been asking for something to let up. You got to rely on the spirit for this. And you have to do this work right here too. This assessment is really important. And this hangman is a part of making sure that assessment happens. Or the hangman is a part of the assessment process. Because after you realize what it is that you've done, didn't do, what you did well, what you didn't do well, and you can really own that, then you can release that which was out of your control. Or you can release your guilt about what it was that you weren't able to fix or right or make better. We're all humans. We're all having a human experience. So this judgment thing is not about passing judgment or being judged. It's just about assessing what happened, what didn't happen, what went well, what didn't go well. And saying, hey, this is how I will do this in the future. These are the changes that I'm going to make in my life. Moving forward, that knowledge that you're operating with, the best knowledge that you're operating with, or the deepest knowledge that you're operating with, is knowledge of self. I'm seeing that in the King of Swords here. I'm seeing that in the Magician here. Once you know what it is you're rolling with, you can use it to make the changes that you want to make in your life. That's this. Rely on your spirit self. Make your assessment. Get rid of the things that don't serve you anymore, but more specifically, get really clear about what didn't go well and what did go well, and then make the changes from there. Anything else for Gemini for this full moon to focus on for the full moon? I'm getting Gemini to focus on the knowledge of self. Knowledge of self is the best knowing. You are the best knower. The Creator is the best knower, and you need to connect there. That's what that Spirit card is about. Ace of Pentacles. All right, so it's going to be tangible. There's going to be some tangible changes for you. You're going to be able to see those changes take place in your life, and it's going to be very, very concrete and very tangible. And that's a great thing. You're going to be really glad about that because you've been waiting on that. You've been praying for that. You need like a blessing in your life right now, Gemini. So do the homework. Do that deep dive, you know. Do a little journal entry. Just say, like, this is everything that I know. These are the things that have stood out for me out of the things that I've learned in the past 6 months to a year, or over the past month, or, you know, whatever makes sense for you. Own it, operate in it. Stand on it. and let it inform you. Let it inform your next move. Okay? All right, I'm going to take a quick pause for my Libras. All right, Libras, the card that I got for you is Treasure Island. So you guys are waiting on some blessings right now. You've been patient for it and you've been waiting for those things to come through for you. And it looks like they are coming through for you. It's on a card number 9. 9 represents the end of a cycle and the start of a new cycle. So whatever the old cycle was, this that's coming in represents the new cycle. And it is the Treasure Island card. So where your heart is, where your treasure is. Where is your treasure? What is valuable to you? So you're going to be thinking about value in general, and what you value in yourself and what you value in your life. I see a regeneration coming, and I also see love coming for you. Something that's going to renew your spirit, renew your energy, because you've not been in a good place. You don't realize it, Libra, but you haven't been in a good place. That's why you haven't been able to manifest these things prior to now. But you're going to be in a better place now, and that's good. We've got the Prince of Wands here. Prince of Wands. I got the Devil and Strength. I want to start with the Devil because the Devil card is about sabotage, and it's also about letting things get in the way of you knowing your own value, right? So if there are people out there or situations out there that are reflecting this back to you, know that this comes from the internal, not from the external. Like nothing can stop you. Nothing, you know, the devil isn't real. Like it's all a figment of our imagination, but it's really energy. And it's the energy of sabotage. It's the energy of doubt in yourself, or doubt in your faith, or doubting, period, which isn't an exercising of faith. You know, so if we think about God and the devil, like faith in God, when you don't have faith, when you start worrying and doubting your own abilities, or doubting what can happen for you, or doubting that what it is that you value and that you think is important can happen for you. But if you value it, then you can draw it into yourself. You can bring it forward. We have the Prince of Wands here. The Prince of Wands, again, is a fire energy. We talk about Sagittarius, and we talked about the Aries energy that's coming in with this full moon. So this represents that in some way, shape, fashion. I'm seeing the lion here being the king of the jungle, being in charge of yourself, being in control of yourself, not others, not dictating to others. And that being an avenue for movement for you, or movement for this thing to come through, this thing that you're looking for, this treasure, this valuable, tangible love, whether it's love, regeneration, or whether it's just a project that you're waiting on, or you're waiting to hear back from somebody about a project. We've got the Strength card here, which to me just kind of follows along with this, because what I'm getting from these two cards is that there's some self-doubt happening. You don't want to doubt at all about this. And when I say doubt, it's like not only doubting that you can have what it is that you hold dear to yourself, and those values that you possess being important, or being what is the word I'm looking for? The things that you value not only being important, but being usable energy. This is where doubt comes in. This is where the doubt comes in. So I'm getting doubt here, and you need to strengthen yourself around that, Libras. If you're feeling doubtful, if you're second guessing yourself, if you're second guessing what you want, what you desire, what you need, if you're thinking to yourself, well, like what I think is important is probably not that important, stuff like that, you want to get away from that kind of thinking, because that's this. It's getting in your way, or it can get in your way, and you don't want to have anything get in your way. So during the full moon, I would say to strengthen yourself around that. Like set your intentions around strengthening your resolve about what it is that you want and you desire, and so that can come in quickly. Prince of Wands is about things happening very quickly. Out of all the princes, is definitely bringing things in fast because it's that fire energy behind it. Don't get into a whole lot of debates and arguments. Again, we talked about that before. Libras. And again, I've got the King of Swords, the same as with the Geminis, like really owning your knowledge and your information and your sense of judgment and all of that that comes with being the air sign that you are. Swords are air properties, air characteristics, air principles are in the sword. So the mind, the cognitive mind, the mental acuity, all of that. Okay, and then I've got the Ace of Pentacles coming in for you too. So these are tangible manifestations of what it is that you deeply value within inside of yourself, Libra. The focus is on having faith and not doubting the Creator's ability to bring to you what it is that you want, and then not second guessing what you want. That's what I keep getting very clearly there. All right, I'm going to take a pause for my Aquariuses. All right, Aquarius, the card that we pull for you is soulmate. So you want to concentrate during the full moon about these relationships that you're very close to. Spend time with someone that you love. Spend time with that person that holds the key to your heart, or you hold the key to their heart, one or the other. Get close to one another. Spend time with one another, preferably alone and away from television and electronicals, as we like to call them. We've got the Prince of Swords coming in with that, which means to take care of that expediently. I'm getting that you need to be listening. Need to be listening to your significant other. So if things do come up, again, that Aries moon energy, if some arguments or anything like that comes up, listen carefully to your mate, because your mate is trying to share with you what they really need, and then act on it. I've got the Universe here, which is the equivalent of the World card. That means that there's a lot of value in your relationship, Aquarius. There's a lot of value that comes with this relationship. So listening is very important. Got the Tower card coming in. So we don't want things to fall apart on you because you're not doing the listening work. That's what this full moon is for, Aquarius. It's about reconnecting with your partner, reconnecting with your significant other. There's the Judgment card again, making a full assessment of your relationship too, both individually, like you and the other significant other can do this, but you especially, because I'm reading for Aquarius. Make a full assessment of this relationship, what you've given to the relationship, what you've taken from the relationship, how you've contributed, and how you've not contributed. And then listen. Got the Queen of Wands here, which is about a level of self-confidence that comes from knowing yourself clearly and acting in your full self, like not being afraid and not and doing that without apology and without guilt. But in order for you to do that, you've got to go through this process right here of analyzing the full situation and letting that bring clarity to the relationship. This is not about rehashing old stuff or rehashing the same thing that you did before. Don't get into any of those kinds of arguments at all. If you find yourself going into that with your partner, with your significant other, then you listen. You be the listener. And that's going to help you climb further in the relationship. It's also going to give you a sense of power. It's going to connect you to a sense of power there. We've got Temperance here, which again, that goes back to the listening part. That goes back to here for me. It's about balancing the relationship well. It's about bringing balance in a relationship here, which means that everybody's got to take a moment, okay? Got to take a moment. You got to take a moment with each other. You got to balance out. That's what this becomes very important. And it becomes important because you don't want things to like completely disintegrate into nothing. All because you didn't want to take the time out to listen and balance and own your part in the relationship, what went well and what didn't. You got to own that. Make your apologies, make your atonements during the full moon. Okay? Anything else for Aquarius regarding the soulmate situation for October 13th? All right, very good. All right, that's your full moon focus, folks. That's your full moon view for October 13th. 2019. If you find that you need other information, you want to take a deeper dive, if you want to find out specifically what you need to focus on for you personally, you can reach out to me at Carrie@wooingnature.life. As always, I hope you have a great full moon, a productive full moon. Stay focused during the full moon and have a wonderful life.